on the this curtain upside. When there is no light on the road, then I put it down on the to avoid overexposure on the part of the city area.
So basically you were doing dodging and burning on the film
itself,
and not on the print. You are experimenting
on the negative
and burning on the negative.
Negative also, negative, yes. And same I did one with I was having a slide duplicator. Half portion of the slide, I took one portion of the slide, sky portion of the one slide, and ground portion of the one slide, and that came very fantastic. And that was the first entry of my Indian photographic exhibition is there. I do not remember just now. The first Indian photography exhibition was there in Delhi. That was the entry of the painting with light.
That is what the title of this was.
Yeah, painting with light. One against light photograph of sheaves joined with this cloudy mountain. And that was simply with slide duplicator. I put one slide and shaded another portion of the slide. Then I put it another slide and shaded other portion of the slide, and that came very nicely.
So you were at that time there was no one experimenting with the kind of lighting and techniques that you are now working with.
Yeah.
In the whole of India.
No. Many people were doing so many lessons. I don't remember, but I used to, as much as I can afford and as much time I can afford, because I have to work with the government department. I was having my personal camera. Another thing who took me over here, I was in government department. Sometime I used to take photograph of temple, sometime of some sheaves. So department used to ask me why you have taken the photograph of temple. I was having no explanation. After listening so many queries, I took my own camera, and wherever I want, I used to take that photograph. Because departmental, there was a restriction on my photography. I am a government photographer and I can take only the requirement of that department. I cannot go beyond that. The temple was not the requirement of the forest department. So ultimately I took my own camera. And the press person of the newspaper also helped me. They were searching for photograph. During 80s, there was a lot of writers, no photograph. So my jurisdiction was whole the state of Himachal Pradesh. I used to travel whole the state. So many correspondents give me, we want one photograph of shepherds with a sheep. Somebody say we want such and such photograph of such landscape. Some people say we want photograph of some temple. I have a write-up. It is pending for non-want of this photograph. So they also helped me. They asked me for 2 photographs. I used to take 10 or 20 photographs, and that collection piled up. And that collection has become a rare one from 80 to today.
Okay, so please give some time frame. What year was this, roughly?
The screen time was, I can say, 89 to 99.
Now, 89 was the time you decided that the work you were doing was too narrow for your photography skills. So that's the time that you decided to have 2 eyes in photography. one is the forest department,
Yeah.
what they want,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then the second is what? You as a photographer that loves to capture pictures,
Yeah.
freely you could do that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that is when the two
I see, yeah.
roads started building up.
Yeah, yes.
One is your work, what
Yeah.
they wanted.
Yeah.
The other thing is what you love to photograph.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is like when you as a photographer was born,
Yeah.
without a restrictions on photography.
Right, right.
Okay.
Whatever I want to capture, I wish to capture, I take. And that practice make me, it was by instinct, or I do remember it was by instinct. I have the ability from the very first, this 5W experiment. Whenever I take photograph, it must tell where photo taken, why photo taken, what was the purpose of the photo taken. So all 5W must explain that photograph. For example, I have taken this photograph of this Gujjar is reading in namaz. Gujjar is a person who take the fellow with him for grazing, and he lives on the high altitude. So this picture shows his buffalo is there, his clothes is there, and it is on the high Himalayas. So one picture must completely speak of his full story. And if you go my collection, you will find almost all 5W in my all pictures.
When was this time that you realized that there's this 5Ws that you need to fulfill?
It is by experience. When I was used to collect photographs for this photojournal, this for journalist purpose and other collection. So I used to find that this should come with this photograph. This tree is must, and I used to learn this books from where I learn composition, where to put a main subject, where to put main subject. So
after your education, you didn't stop learning. You were continuously reading magazines, books, whatever information you could get your hands on as far as photography.
Yeah.
You were reading, you were improving yourself.
I remember one very small, the box of this 120 film or 35 film that contains instruction how to use that film. That I kept for long time and used to study how to take picture with this. Because at that time there was no photography books available at that. So I used to pick up the box from the dust and I take notice of that instruction.
So that's when you looked at that for a film there was different grains of film.
Yeah, yeah.
So you could have very small grain, but that means you need a lot of light to expose.
Yes.
And then you have the big grain, you need little light to expose. And you have to trade off against grain, against the picture to get this. And this is what you were reading in the back of, and all the
Yes.
the chemicals, how long you have to develop the film,
Right.
all this is what you were reading in boxes to
Boxes,
get information.
yes.
Okay, continue.
So many things helped me to reach up to this stage. But this collection started from this, in government department there was a restriction on my...
So this whole collection was born when they told you you cannot use government film and government paper to do your personal photography.
Yeah, yeah.
Forest department is only forest and that is all.
Right.
So in a way, this is they by saying that gave birth to this whole collection.
Yes, they gave this. Yes, right. You are right.
Because if they said chalega, no problem, photograph, this
I would have been there. Exactly. Yes. Yes.
So it was a big service. At that time, you were not very happy that you had to put your own energy. But suddenly, all this opened up.
And at that time, there was a restriction on receiving 2.5 rupees.